Hi, friends. This live stream is for bored people. If you're not currently bored, please do not tune in. If you are currently entertained by something else, don't click on this. Don't leave what you're currently doing to come here to try to be entertained. If you're already currently entertained, that would make no sense. It would just be redundant. It's like trying to hydrate yourself when you've just had a gallon of water. It just doesn't make any sense. So if you're not bored, please stay away. Please stay away from the stream because this is for bored people only. Hi, Octavia Silva. I gotta tell you though, we're gonna warn you. If at any point you become entertained during this live stream, it's important that you leave because this is for bored people only. You have to stay bored the whole time you're here too. That's the condition of tonight's live stream. I can check, by the way. I have ways of knowing whether you're actually bored or not. Okay, so you got to be careful about that. This is exclusively for the bored. I personally am very bored right now. Bored and boring, as they say. Why? Why am I so bored? Well, because I was doing something boring, I guess. Nothing really seemed that fun. I've been scheduling videos for my music channel, one a day for an indefinite number of days. I've got like 5 of them up there now, scheduled. And I'm kind of happy about that. Kind of interested to see how that plays out. But, it got tiresome. It got tedious. It got tedious like my work at the factory, the assembly line. My assembly line job, where all I did all day was put kernels of corn inside a baby doll's eyes. Hi, Jerry like the mouse. Long time no see. How you doing? Are you still like a mouse? Or you could be Jerry like Jerry Lewis. It could be Jerry like Ben and Jerry. Are you bored? I want to make sure you're aware of the fact this live stream is only for bored people. So if you're currently excited, I'm sorry, you're going to have to come back another time. If you are bored, let's talk about some boring topics so we can just sort of wallow in our boredom for a bit. Let's talk about spoons. Concave or convex, which do you prefer? I'm more of a concave guy, I try to eat with a scooping part up and the dome part down. That's just my approach to spoons. I don't know, maybe some other people do a different way. You cleaned your house over the past few days. That's a wonderfully boring topic. Thanks, Octavio. You're really chipping into the boredom here. I appreciate that. The Ticks battle cry. Jerry! Oh, we'll see if we get anybody show up in this live stream. I am sort of planning on not live streaming from here. This channel really very much going forward, but I haven't quite transitioned from it yet. You think everyone thinks I died? Well, hopefully, people will get the news. I attempted to spread the news a bit as I could. It's just a matter of time until I surmount this difficulty. And to me, it feels very much like it's going to require me to go start doing all my live streaming from another channel, probably the archives channel, since it's already set up and I don't have to verify it and anything. Because you can only verify 2 channels per year by phone, I just realized. I just verified the TWFP music channel, but I've already been able to live stream successfully on the TWFP archives channel, which means I must have already verified that one before. So that's something I hadn't considered, is that you can only verify 2 things on your phone per year. I just did TWFP Music. I plan to start live streaming music from there at some point, I guess. But I was just accidentally in that account when I went to live stream, and then it made me verify. So maybe I oughtn't to have wasted it on that. I don't know. Regardless, probably a good idea. And it's like one channel that I think I'm doing the way that YouTube wants me to do it, which is, yeah, I know, I am, and I've been talking about it on these streams. I think even after I switch over to the archive channel, I will make announcement videos for this channel to let people know that I'm live streaming on the other channel right now, you know, as I used to do a long time ago when I was trying to get people to meet with me in a room to make videos with me. I put an announcement up saying, I'm waiting in this room, please come visit with me, and blah, 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 blah. So I'm definitely going to do that kind of stuff. The thing is, I'm trying to be smart about my workflow a little bit. So like the one idea that I have very clearly defined in my head of what I'm going to do is regarding the music channel. So I started working on that, and I will link to that channel here just on the grounds that as a general sort of promoting that channel thing, making people aware that this is where I'm uploading my music from now on. I am re-uploading my existing music, plus any new music I make is going to go up to this channel, as Karate Girl did today, which was a new song for me that I uploaded today. It's kind of nice. It gives me an opportunity to fix some of the mastering issues on some of the songs, which is good. I fixed Amelia and What's Wrong with the Ladies, both of which needed to be optimized. You know, it's like they hadn't been mastered properly. I used to be really stupid about shit a lot of times, and I still can be sometimes, but I'm a lot more attentive to the details now than I used to be. Making a good track that's well produced and that, you know, is done with a level of detail and care that you need to really have it pop. It takes a lot of effort and work, but it's something now I get how to do it. I basically do. And so I feel super happy about that. Like, I know when I produce a song now, I am going to, or I have the capacity to at least, make it right, master it, not have NI ignoring get me again, you know, where it's like, God, I ignored the NI here on this error, and now you got to listen to this error forever. I'm pretty good now about restraining myself. I don't feel quite as much urgency about uploading shit instantly, although I still do a lot, you know. But that's kind of what live streaming is for. So right now, I was bored with doing that TESE shit, and so I started live streaming. Where's my lighter? When it's time for a bong rip and you can't find your lighter, then the sorrow will fill your heart as deep as sadness. There, I found it. Oh, my meow. Oh, so meowsies. Sleep deprivation is killing you. It's not doing me any favors either, Infinity Deluxe. Although I did get a good night's sleep last night, but I took a nap today too. I'm sort of catching up a little bit. Hi, Countess 1. Vinci Deluxe, here, in order to help you with your sleep deprivation, it was fine. I'm going to transubstantiate this bong rip for you. Thank you for asking. Vinci Deluxe, I hereby transubstantiate this bong rip. Hi, Jim, the INFP chaotically minimal. Mao. Of course, Mao. That's funny, Octavia Silva. So anyway, as indicated before, I hope you guys are all bored. This stream is just for bored people. I'm glad number 9 left right now. Number 9 wasn't bored, so in the end, I escaped from the civil society group as I was getting 200 missed messages in 2 hours. What? What are you talking about? Which civil society? Oh, the Facebook group you started. That's a lot of messages. Escape from civil society, huh? You abandoned it. Do you think boredom is a pro or a con? Well, I mean, it's not the worst con in the world. I usually find something to entertain myself. It's pretty rare that I'm both bored and have enough energy to not be entertained by like just watching TV or something. Usually if I'm bored, I'm probably also feeling like, sleepy weekish. And so in that case, fine, I can nap, I can watch TV or whatever. It's pretty rare that I have energy and not really a clear understanding of what I want to do with it, which is kind of the case right now, which is why I started this live stream. When I left, they were just discussing spiders and moving on to power outlets. Well, I mean, mix the two together and you got yourself a pretty exciting storyline. Yo, what's new? Says Isaiah Rude. A variety of different things that are no longer old. Listen, no, that's not, no. That's a Darkling's widow spider from South America. You got it wrong. It's the wrong kind of spider. Like that kind of talk? That sounds fun. I think boredom is, well, it's indicative of something. It's like, if I can sit here and chat casually with everybody and have people sort of enjoy the conversation and periodically type things into the live chat and just engage me on a kind of a surfacey level like this, or even on a deeper level, whatever, then I'm probably not going to be very bored. But he torched spiders because the mother carries babies on her back. Well, this is kind of gross. I've torched spiders before too, just because, like black widows, there's a lot of black widows around here. It's a good idea to kill them, I think. Poisonous spiders and all are not my favorite kind of other living creature, I guess. Non-poisonous spiders, different story. I usually don't kill insects in general. But I mean, I'm not a person who's in favor of killing things. Like my dad has Roundup, which he sprays certain spots in the yard to keep the weeds away, and I'm just like, God, why? Well, I mean, I get that he sprays it in like the sprinkler hole so that the grass doesn't grow over the sprinklers. I get that desire to not have the grass grow over the sprinklers. That's a sensible thing, but you don't have to use poison to do that. I used to piss my mom off too. My mom and I both opposed the poison from the get-go, and my dad was just like, this is going to spray everything with poison now. Fucking why? Because, that's what we do. That's how you do things. You spray for bugs with poison, and then you spray for weeds with poison. You got lots of poison around here. I didn't see the comments on the last video. What were they? Which video are you talking about? Your video? My mom is fine. I'll probably go visit her tomorrow in the morning since I'm leaving for Hawaii on Wednesday. I'm picking up Rachel from the airport tomorrow evening. I'm feeling a little bit of an adrenaline rush about that. I'm excited to see her. And I feel some sort of a sense of both accomplishment and relief, satisfaction, or whatever, that the relationship feels really solid. It feels very good. It seems like we're both equally into it. Yes, we'll be streaming from Hawaii. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is good enough. But Mom seems to like it there. I think she likes it better there, frankly, because there's more company around her and she likes having people around her. What are my thoughts on people watching? Oh no, I didn't see the comments. What did they say? So I had lunch today at Coco's, and across from me, in a booth across from me, was a couple, and they seemed very happy. It seemed like a happy couple. You can tell, like, the way that the two people move as a team, make eye contact periodically, and operate as a two-person team. You can just tell they were a good couple. They liked being a couple, and they'd been one for a while. It's like they weren't a new couple. They probably had kids together. They were talking about kids. I suspect they're talking about their own. Anyway, shit ton of SI in that couple, though. Oh my God, so much SI. I think I was looking at an ESFJ ISFJ couple, probably, with the dude being the ISFJ and the chick being the ESFJ. Like, when they first went in, oh, okay. So, like, they were talking about old things they used to remember in the area, old businesses they used to go to that are no longer there. They were talking about Weber bread, this brand of bread that they remember from their childhood. They were a little younger than me. I don't know, maybe approximately 45, And there were, and then when she came in, she's like, she wanted to sit at a certain booth because she wanted a little bit of sun on her, but not too much sun on her. And when the lady closed the blind, then the ISFJ guy was like, she really wanted actually to have a little bit of sun on her. So could you like lift up that blind a little bit, please? And then, she wanted her Diet Coke with a lot of ice. And, she was very SI tool, FE dumb, the lady. In theory, could have been an ISFJ herself, I guess. But I read it as ESFJ, ISFJ. And it struck me. Like a behavior like that. Coming into a restaurant and wanting to be seated in a place where you get a certain amount of sunlight on you because you're sort of cold, but not too cold. You don't want it on your face, but you want it on your legs. That's a behavior that's going to correlate pretty strongly with an SI person. It's not definitive in the sense that one can conceive of circumstances in which an NI person might do something equivalent for a number of reasons, maybe not even related to their actual comfort level. Say an INFJ might demonstrate those behaviors because of some sort of social advantage to demonstrating those behaviors, irrelevant to how they actually feel about it. So, thanks, Octavio Silva. Were you talking out loud? Were you arguing with her over like video conference or whatever? When one says that one has decided on a type, it can safely be assumed that they have considered all types. One important to carefully consider judgments are best and not difficult to achieve, especially when deciding among 16 types and not 1,000. So who are you quoting there? You're quoting yourself? I like those quotes. I like both those quotes. I think those are both good quotes. You're a good quote maker, Countess. Okay. Thanks. I kind of agree with Matthew too, for about 50% of the population or so. When you're sure you know, the NI just doesn't present any contradictions anymore. Well, the NI feels satisfied, put it that way. I do think there's a link between physicalities and type, but I think it's a correlation of varying strengths, and it's not something that you can successfully make arguments about. So in other words, if I type you using physical cues like that, then I can't explain to you why you're that way. I can point to the physical cues that I use to call you that, but I can't actually explain to you why that means you're a mia and not a mia, right? Whereas if I have a process analysis or even a behavioral analysis explanation, then at least I can make arguments, right? I can justify, defend, or fail to do so. So I try to only use typing approaches that I can argumentationally defend, because if you can't argumentationally defend it, then it's just asking the other person to take your word for it based on your associations for this versus that can't really be scrutinized by anybody else, you know? Thanks, Octavio. It is pretty windy around here. It's not right now. It was windy yesterday, though. So, you know, even a day after the winds have stopped, you still have to be careful for windiness. You can never be too careful or have too many safety protocols. Never. No matter how redundant, onerous, or impositional they may be, it is not possible to have too many safety protocols. Like at the airport, for example, I want to be searched when I first walk in the door. I want to be searched again at the ticket counter. And I want to be searched again before I enter the boarding area. And then I want to be searched again before I get on the plane. Then I'll feel safe. PIPO. What does PIPO mean? Pipe? Stop ignoring what I say! Oh, that's true. The possum might be there. Yeah, exactly. Her responses to what I said were stuff like, to whip your ass if we were both natives in English and stuff. And I was like, respond on point, stop ignoring what I say. Oh, so you're not talking to me when you say that. That's fair. That's a totally fair thing to say. I don't blame you for screaming that. When people are non-responsive, it's frustrating. I said specific words for a specific reason. Address them. Address what they mean, you know? Nah. Well, Kelly 2085. They have almond-shaped eyes. They poke out more. Like mine are sunken in a lot. There's more like buggy. They're kind of intense looking eyes. If you want to see a good example of INFJ eyes, you can look at like Amber Bobamber from some of my videos in Tech Police. She's an INFJ. She looks just like an INFJ. Rachel looks a lot like an INFJ. She's got INFJ eyes. She doesn't have like the textbook INFJ look. She's a little bit more, a little less round faced, I guess, than most INFJs, who tend to have round faces as well as those kind of eyes. Like Yamato from Naruto. If you, I'll find a picture. They're like big ass, almond eyes. Well, Rachel's eyes look like an INFJ. She's got beta quadra eyes, but I agree that in general she doesn't really look like she has a INFJ face. And that's one of the many reasons why we can't use that modality to type people, really. Okay. So hopefully this works here shortly. Come on. What's the hang up here, Mr. Pinterest? Why so slow? You're causing disinterest, Mr. Pinterest. Oh, it doesn't seem to be working. God damn it. All right, well, this has officially become too difficult. So I just blew all that smoke out inside the room. You'll have to Google it yourself. I cannot get you a link. Yada, yada. When the world says meow, sometimes you say meowdy meow, and sometimes you say piatti piad. And that's all there is to it, really. And what you decide to say, well, it's contextually determined. Is it more of a meow moment, or is it more of a piao moment? Or sometimes even a piao moment, if you're feeling really fighty. I try not to be fighty like that so much anymore. A little more tame. I'm tame like the grizzly bear after it's mated. I'm tamed like a wild lion is tamed by the singing voice of a virgin. All right, let's see what's been going on here in the chat while I've been off to the side. Oh, you fucked it up, Isaiah Rude. Shame on you. Yeah, I bet I just take right to it. It's like, fish, here's water. You were TE first. You're obviously TENI Countess. You're not TESI. Duh. There's not a bit of SI in Countess, even if you look really hard. Not a bit of SI in Countess. You can tell she's left it at the bar. There's not a bit of SI in Countess. I didn't do either of those things Louise T's on. It really doesn't do much of anything, frankly. Yeah, there's totally no SI in Countess. Okay, she's yours. That's fine. So can weed help me worry less about these things to help stop temporarily? I don't know. I mean, you'd have to try to see if you like it or not. The thing is, I find it relaxing sometimes after I've been away from the house for a while, you know? It's true, Countess. He did. He did. He won. So now you have to give yourself to him. You're kind of like a stuffed animal at the at the carnival. And, you know, I was competing against an ESTP at a carnival game. I'm guaranteed to lose. Why are you saying? Oh, Swift Eagle, that's right. You have beef with Countess, huh? Hi, Ali Malik. Thanks for being a big fan of my work. Have I ever tried DMT? No, I never have. Why did he do that? Swift Eagle, I want to know what you have against Countess. No, I've never tried DMT. I kind of have a rule, no new drugs at this point in my life. I might make an exception for DMT if I were to come across it. A lot of people have tried it. You're an INTP, huh? Well, then I'm sure you will have plenty of scrutiny for every one of my words. Everyone loses at carnival games unless you're playing one of those games where it's a race against the other people, in which case one person is guaranteed to win. For example, the blow up the balloon with a water gun game. You ever played that one? Mm-hmm. Now, granted, it usually comes down to whoever has the best gun. There's usually one gun that's better than the other ones, you know? If you have a shitty gun, you're kind of fucked. Well, I meant to not curse. Try not to curse so much. Well, c'est la vie, that is life, what they say to me. In France, when you make a tree, it's c'est la vie, yes, c'est la vie. I want to know why those. Why did you tell her to F off then? You just randomly tell that to people you like and approve of? Hey, buddy, I got 2 words for you. Of DMT, Matthias Sanchez did a few posts of DMT. I remember my 6-year-old brother trying to determine this type. What kind of questions can you ask young children to determine that? They're really, in a lot of ways, easier to type than adults because you can know that they're not gaming anything, that they don't really have any idea what you're doing when you're asking them questions. Ali Malik, you know, he typed me as whatever he typed me as. People can, you know, it's like people think I'm much more interested in him than I am. That, you know, it's like I made a few videos in which I lay it out, like how he's disseminating disinformation, but a lot of other people are a lot more interested in that whole topic than me. I don't really feel like I can do anything about it or that it's my responsibility to do anything about it. I just periodically felt inclined to make videos about it, you know, because the idea, what offended me more than him by identifying me as an ESTP is him identifying himself as an ENTP. I mean, you can usually get good TI readings out of them as young as, I don't know about 6. 6 is pretty young. I would say it's 4th grade, 3rd grade is the youngest that I feel confident in being able to type certain things because All right, Barbecue 44. I'm transubstantiating this bong rip for you, Barbecue 44. I transubstantiate thee. I couldn't feel any of the high from that Barbecue 44 because I transubstantiated it all to you. But I'm guessing that one packed a bit of a punch. And what did he say? Does he have a mother sister? If he doesn't have one, it's not really fair, you know? Okay, well, I mean, the thing is, it's hard to say with a 6-year-old what to make of that. That's not, I wouldn't call it definitive. Now, if an adult gives you that answer, it's a pretty good giveaway that they're TI polar. It is true, Ali Malik, that TI polar people can't answer that question or often answer it with equivalent things. Is he SE Dom? Seems like an SE Dom. Quite possible. If he's an SE Dom, then, 50-50 chance, I guess, that he's TI polar. Certainly plausible. Yeah, TI Dom for sure, huh? So I guess right now it's kind of like when you're a kid and it's a day or two before Christmas, Halloween, or something like that. You're kind of impatient for shit to get moving on, but you kind of feel like stalled in the moment for a lack of, yeah. Are there more than one type that perform door slams? Well, I have performed a door slam before. Thanks, Barbecue 44. See you later. On Chloe. Chloe was a member of the community who took down the TWFP Raw 1 channel by continually dropping copyrighted shit into the feed and got it, banned, taken away, just like all of a sudden my channel's gone. So I door slammed her in the sense that I don't respond to her at all. I won't hear her pleas for leniency or anything like that. She's done. Talk about this lamp. It's a hula girl. But it takes a lot for me to door slam somebody. And the thing is that when I do, it's not even out of anger, it's out of a sense of boundaries, there's no point in being angry, once something like that happens. It's beyond emotions at that point. It's just you gotta do what you gotta do. You've just been ass reamed like that. You got no business allowing the person any presence in your life. What up, says 1 2 free. The sky, says you and me. His Effie seems its front stack, though. He finds it funny, asking, so, oh, this looks delicious, then proceeds to look at me to fetch it, he. ENTPs are very messy, it's true. NE-DOMs are house destroyers in their own way. But different kind of house destroying, probably. I mean, ESTP and patience in a classroom is very different than ENTP. If if you can occupy their attention enough, they probably won't be too destructive. But, you know, I was the sort of kid who would take stuff out and leave it out and forget it. I had taken it out and never put a sip away. Hi, Jayo. Thank you for being glad to see that I'm back. How would FI come out of an ENTJ woman who's upset? Yelling at you, probably. I don't think that they're likely to be silent about it. Guardian of emotions and dealing with them privately in quiet outbursts. Well, you have to let them get a little older and test his TI some more. Ask him the kind of question where you go, if 2 lollipops make a Squirtle and 2 Squirtles make a bug, how many lollipops in a bug? And if he goes like, see if he gets the concept. Oh, correct. That's good, Ali Malik. You got the TI question right. 12 jellyfish. No, Jerry, like a mouse. That's not it. That's the wrong answer. Well, I'll tell you this much, Swift Eagle. She's definitely an NI user. You want another TI question? Okay. If every dog is also a letter carrier, and some letter carriers also deliver parcels, is it necessarily the case that some dogs also carry parcels? I'll repeat the question. If some dogs are mailmen and some mailmen, no, I'm sorry. If all dogs are mailmen and some mailmen also carry parcels, is it the case that some dogs necessarily carry parcels? Fair enough, Countess. Also fair enough. That's good brokering of peace there, you guys. That's good. That's good work brokering peace. I like that. I want to approve and affirm both of you for your efforts in your peace agreement. The answer is Ali Malik. Do you remember the question now? Do you want to take a stab at it? All dogs are mail carriers. Some mail carriers are also parcel carriers. Is it the case that some dogs are parcel carriers? That's the question that I'm asking you today. If you want to, you can give an answer that you say. All dogs would what? All dogs carry mail. Some mailmen carry parcels as well as mail. Is it necessarily the case that some dogs carry parcels? And the answer is no. It's not the case that some dogs necessarily must carry parcels. It could be the case that all dogs, which are also mailmen, are the sort of mailmen who don't carry parcels. No, it's not the case that some necessarily do. It could be the case that the post office does, in fact, hire all dogs to be postmen, but assigns none of them the task of carrying parcels. We don't know anything about how they determine the group. No, what I said was all dogs are mailmen. Some mailmen carry parcels as well as mail. And so is it the case, the question is it the case that some dogs necessarily carry parcels? Okay. All right. How many Norrises does it take to chuck if all chucks are Norrises? Good question. Now, all dogs are mailmen. Some mailmen carry parcels. All dogs are mailmen. Some mailmen carry parcels as well as mail. That's the question. It doesn't matter if it's some dogs are mailmen or all dogs are mailmen. The answer is the same. So, if all dogs are mailmen and some mailmen also carry parcels, is it the case that some dogs must carry parcels? The answer is no. It could be the post office assigns all the dogs to non-parcel carrying roles. All right, I'll ask another question. Okay, here's a question. If oranges are better than lemons and lemons are better than cantaloupe, and Joey has the criterion of I will eat the best of these fruits, and Joey cannot determine which the best of the fruits is, what must also be the case? I will repeat the question. If I think I said lemons are better than oranges, I think it could have been the other way around. This is the official question this time. Okay, if I messed it up, I changed it a little bit from the first time. Leave it like this. If lemons are better than oranges, and melons are better than lemons. And Joey has the metric that he's using, the deciding the criterion of he's going to eat whichever fruit is best. What must be the case if Joey is unable to determine which fruit to eat? That sounds like T.I. Polar. All right, so lemons are better than oranges, okay? And melons are better than lemons. Lemons are better than oranges. Melons are better than lemons. What must also be the case if, in fact, Joey cannot figure out which fruit to eat, given that his metric is he will eat whichever fruit is best? Well, in other words, what must be the case for that to not be true? That's a great observation, 1, 2, 3. Correct. So what's the condition under which he would be unable to determine which fruit is best? Right. Yeah. Correct. You got it, Ali and Malik. If melons are better. No. Yeah, melons have, actually, you're right. You got the general gist of it, Ali, but Isaiah Rude got the actual right answer. If melons are better than oranges, then he can't determine which fruit is best because melons are better than oranges. Lemons are better than oranges. Melons are better than lemons, and oranges are better than melons. He has to decide oranges are better than melons, right? Yeah. No, Isaiah Rude, you're wrong. Ali Malik, you were right, except you shouldn't put the weather. But yeah, you're right. And Jake Hurwitz, you're right. Oranges are better than melons. You have to decide that. Well, that makes sense, Ali Malik. You're bright for 14 for sure. As an NETI Dom, I believe you're an INTP. Yeah. Well, thanks, Abe Sapien. I appreciate that. Okay, so I've never asked that kind of question before, by the way, that one right there. That's a new concept for a question, that idea of there being a circle like that. And I never thought of that kind of question before. So that's kind of cool. All right, I'll ask another one. Okay. How about if Bob has 2 more straws, then he has fewer straws than Jane. And Jane has 12 straws. How many straws does Bob have? If Bob has 2 fewer straws than he has, I'm sorry. Let me change this. Let me fix this question. If Bob has 2 more straws, then he has fewer straws than Jane has, and Jane has 12 straws. How many straws does Bob have? If Bob has 2 more straws, then Bob has fewer straws than Jane has. How many straws does Bob have if Jane has 12? I'll repeat it again. If Bob has two more straws, then Bob has fewer straws than Jane has, and Jane has 12 straws. How many straws does Bob have? If Bob has 2 more straws, then he has fewer straws than Jane has. And Jane has 12 straws. Then how many straws has Bob? That's the question I've for you. How many straws has Bob? Does Bob have 5 or 10 or 50 straws or what the dope? The same amount? No. Bob does not have the same amount of straws as Jane. No. That much we know for sure. Can anybody get this very exciting question? That is wrong. 14 is wrong. 13 is wrong as well. Less than or equal to 9. Okay. Jane has 12 straws. Bob has 2 more straws than he has fewer straws than Jane has. Nope, not 11. Remember, the key thing to remember in trying to answer this question, Bob has fewer straws than Jane. How many fewer straws than does he have? Well, he's got 2 more straws than the amount of straws fewer than he has than Jane has. So let's see. No. No. He's got, it would have to be, no. 7? Are you 7? I think it is 7. Because 7, he's got 5 fewer than 12, and it's 2 more than, yeah, it's 7. The answer is 7. Swift Eagle, you got it. It's 7. 7 is 2 more than he has fewer than Jane. Jane has 12. He has 7, which is 5 fewer than Jane. And 7 is 2 more than 5 fewer than Jane. So 7 is the correct answer. that Jane's always, she's always getting into her straws like that. I don't know. So the answer is 7. Yes, it is. The answer is 7. Why 5? Look, Bob has 5 fewer straws than Jane because he has 7, which the number of which is 2 more than 5 fewer. Now, fewer means less than. But if you're talking about something you count, you use the word fewer. So, like, I have less patients, but I have fewer cigarettes. Yeah. It's just an English grammar thing, you know. A lot of people probably around the world, including in America, just use the word less and don't use the word fewer, even though technically it's Meridimia. Well, Abdullah Muhammad Anwar al-Asadi, you know, if you want to be entertained by people, then perhaps you'd be well served to not greet them with the address maggots. Most people don't like being identified as maggots. I'm sure there are some maggot aficionados who think, hey, you know what? I want to be called a maggot because maggots are great. They eat rotten meat. They make new flies. They're spectacular. How about this one? I don't know. I'm tired of thinking of this from. I have shit tons of them. I need to open up a document. I could start reading some of them, but nothing comes to mind of particular interest. So I will leave aside the TI questions for a moment. Thank you for saying that I would make a good narrator, Abdullah Mohammed Anwar Al Asadi. Thanks, I appreciate that. What would you like me to say? Your name? You've got a phone call, Abdullah Mohammed Anwar Al Asadi. You should answer it now. Well, Abdullah Mohammed Anwar Al Asadi, I believe you just revealed yourself to be a troll of some sort. How can you test your TE? Well, try to fix something that's broken, I guess. Any place where you can randomly answer TI questions? I could share you a document of them if I were to get it out. All right, if everybody wants TI test, let me get some TI test out. If you don't meow, then you're manity meow. Cause meow, 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 manity meow. DRP. All right, let me ask this one. Okay, let me do this. Thank you for your patience. I am attempting to render this document into usable form. Upload from your device. I'm selecting one from my device right now. It's very exciting. I think we're all going to enjoy this. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. Indeed. Okay. Here's a little quiz. Let's start with this one. I'm going to put it in the chat, in the El Chatteroo here, so you can see it yourselves. Yeah, that's too many words. It's too many words. I have to split it into two. Yeah. And yeah. There you go. Try this question on for size. See how well you do. If you don't want to see other people's answers, shade your eyes like this, and then you won't be able to see their guesses. John asks more questions than Dan, who asks the second fewest questions. Bob asks more questions than Dan, but not as many questions as George, who doesn't ask the most questions. Mary is also there asking questions. List the people according to the number of questions each asks from most to fewest. What a wonderful notion! Oh, do try. Oh, do try. Let's see what else I can find. Something exciting, perhaps. Something deeply sensual. It's possible, at least plausible, maybe even conceivable. Oh, shucks. Oh, shucks. I'll have to do this again. This is what I'm talking about, friends. This is the sort of problem I'm dealing with these days. Having to do things, requiring execution of notions, rendering my otherwise pointless behavior into something of some possible value to somebody, somewhere, maybe someday. I will give you this one next. This will be an exciting one for you. You're going to really enjoy it. It's going to remind you of a gentle caress. I don't know if you've all heard the words, the news, I mean, about the words, but from now on, I am forsaking the fondle in favor of the caress. Everyone should know. John has more than George has, Bob has more than Dan than Mary. That's what Hambone says, and Jake, so I'm assuming they're right. I don't necessarily know the answer to these questions. I have to figure it out myself. I trust Hambone's judgment for sure. George, Mary, Bob, John, Dan, 1, 2, 3. You're in disagreement with a known TI user in Hambone. I'm going to assume Hambone's right. Let me look at it. Since there's disagreement, I'll look at it and resolve the matter. Well, Dan's second to last. We know that. It goes John, George, Bob, Dan, Mary. John, Bob. No. John, George, Bob, Dan, Mary. John, George, Bob, Dan, Mary. That's the answer. John, George, Bob, Dan, Mary. John, George, Bob, Dan, Mary. John, George, Bob, Dan, Mary. John, George, Bob, Dan. John, George, Bob, Dan. John, George, Bob, Dan, Mary. Okay. Now, yes, there is enough question. There is enough information to answer that question. There is, for sure. Okay. Now, let's give you the next question. We'll see how you do. There. Someone has assaulted my llama. Each suspect tells exactly one lie and one truth. Who's responsible? Abby says Carl is guilty and Bob is not guilty. Earl says Bob is guilty and Carl is not guilty. Carl says Dan is guilty and Earl is guilty. Dan says Earl is guilty and Carl is not guilty. Earl says Earl is guilty, not guilty, and Dan is not guilty. So if each suspect, Abby, Bob, Carl, and Dan, oops, there's a mistake in this one. The last one should say The second one should say Bob says. The second one should say Bob says. Okay, so let me correct that. Bob says Bob is guilty and Carl is not guilty. Okay, so that was that fix that one where it says like after Abby, it says Earl says Bob is guilty and Carl's not guilty. It shouldn't say Earl, it should say Bob there. They go in order. Abby, Bob, Carl, Dan, Earl. So sorry about that. I'll put each of them separately too. So I put the Bob one. There's the Abby one. Here's Carl. Here's Dan. And here's Earl. Well, 1, 2, 3. A good way to improve your TI is to agree with Hambone. He is correct. Dan is guilty. Nice work there, Hambone. Eric, this question is bothering me, so I can't sleep without asking. How can you tell someone uses dominant NI other than devalued SI and ignoring NE? What does NI look like? I mean, it looks like forgetting to link to the self all the time, really. There's a presumption that the data about the self comes from outside, and a tendency to mistake the indications of patterns for definitive in things that are particularist in nature. So it means there's a even more of a tendency to neglect what's right in front of you than ENTPs have, but actually by a rather substantial margin. Like they aren't very much in the sensory realm. To the extent that they are, it's always about other people's perceptions. If you're talking about INFJ, I'll tell you, Octavio, NI. There you go. Well, Octavio is countervalued NI. Like, for INFPs, they don't like anything that tries to constrict the particularist down into some sort of pattern, representative of a pattern. It's not just representative of a pattern. It's the person's a particular unique individual. They're not limited by who they are. Stop trying to put them in a box. They're unique, precious, perfect humanity man, right? So that's where the NI countervaluing comes in. Like, don't shame the dictator, right? That's the INFP's motto. Hey, the dictator's a person too. Don't shame the dictator. Feelings matter so much. Even dictators' feelings matter so much because remember, they have to live their personal, particular experience, and they're unlike anybody else, and everybody's unique and special and precious. All you gotta do is feel the moisture in your heart, and then you'll agree with me. Feel the moisture in my heart. It's the road to agreement. And I'll get there just the same anyway. Cause moisten up my bottom and moisten up my top. It's the moisture driven way. Here's the thing to remember about being a TI DOM or even a TI tool user. Being an action deliberating type means we assume that we can figure out everything best for ourselves. Oh, you tell me that this is the correct theory? Well, explain it to me and I'll decide if it's the correct one because I'll be able to parse out whatever mistakes I decide to see in this thing, right? It's implicit to being a deliberative action type that therefore you think you'd rather not trust another person's expertise. You'd rather parse the thing out for yourself. And it kind of lends itself to both pedantry and inefficiency. Like a lot of people don't operate like that. So when you try to convince people by a universally defensible argumentation, it's, it depends who you're talking to is whether it's going to be successful. People use a lot of different metrics to make decisions about things or to decide, at least to make determinations about what to affirm and negate as to the extent they make affirmations and negations, So it can be important to remember to trust certain other people. I think it's easiest for NTPs to trust other people's experience. So it's like, rather than trusting a given expert, if it's something that the person has a lot of experience in, fine. And depending on what kind of thing it is, we may not feel any particular need to parse it out for ourselves. If it's a physical TE kind of a task, we may be perfectly happy to delegate that, or not. Depends on the moment and the mood and whatever. If it's an FE task, INTP is going to be happy to delegate that. ENTP would probably be like, oh no, I can go shake some hands and press some palms. Eric, how do you wake up early and stay awake? I napped today. I didn't wake up that early today, and it's not that late yet. It's not even 11 o'clock here in Los Angeles. I got a good night's sleep last night. But napping helps a lot. Napping is God's gift to humanity. It's like, oh yeah, that's some normie rye. And it really is. It's about as rye as you can get when you take an afternoon nap. It's just like GCAF. Nothing's juicier than an afternoon nap. I feel sad that I couldn't answer. I feel mad. The thing is, we have to sometimes learn a style of question. Like, if you get fooled by a style of question because it's got some sort of trick in it, you think like, God, I didn't get it. But you learned that style of question, it won't fool you again. That's what makes Logic an open system for TI users and not an open system for non-TI users. Generally, I mean, to the extent I don't sleep well. I just don't really sleep very well. I get up a lot to pee. So that's why I'm up at weird times. I sleep best during the day when I'm taking naps. Um, it's not intentional. I'm not trying to do it. It's like I can't help it. And it really doesn't even matter if I'm on amphetamines or not. When I go off of them for a week or something, then I get really sleepy and lazy. But after about a week, I go back to bouncing off the walls again. I'm the same sort of bouncing off the walls, just less productively. So, hi, Brittany. What are you irritated about? Do you have a rash? Is that the kind of irritation you're talking about? Oh my god, everybody, Ghost Ritter has a rash. Stay away. Don't touch. I have no reason to believe this, but it may be related to coronavirus. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the only time I can really I mean, I want love as well as sex. I mean, obviously I want sex, but I'm quite lovey-dovey. So I don't agree with that statement. What's PUA stuff? People under apples? Oh. Well, I mean, look, that stuff occurs because there's amongst some populations of men, a basic disconnect between men and women. And that's unfortunate, but it's I think intuitives are very relationshipy in general, or at least Alpha Quadra is very relationshipy, So you find any ISFJ, ENTP, INTP, ESFJ, they're probably going to be down for a relationship and not looking to just, hump and move on. I forget what you are, Ghost Rider. You a chick or a dude? Made a threat about PUA online? What do you mean a threat? Like, I'm going to pick you up? Or I'm going to threaten people? You're a woman. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that shit either. I was commenting on it the other day. It's indicative of a it's indicative of a failure on two levels, right? Like, on one level, it's not, you can never actually succeed at what you're doing because you're trying to fake something that you can't sustain faking for any length of time. The idea suggesting to people that they attempt to fake it is I mean, it's fine to want to coach people on their level of confidence or something, or displays or FE shit like that. And some people probably would benefit from a certain amount of instruction in that area. But in other words, it's understandable to want to make yourself more attractive to women if you feel as though you aren't very attractive to them. But it's like, I'm somebody who, that's so disgusting, Countess. Oh my God. Why are you grossing me? Why are you doing that to me? Why? That's bipolar. Ugh. Made me puke. It's like, for a male to have the kind of confidence that women actually want rather than are briefly fooled by requires a rejection of exploitative tactics. And so it's self-defeating in that regard. You're never going to have genuine confidence until you respect yourself enough to afford other people an equivalent amount of legitimacy. Because there's something that's inherently delegitimizing about attempting to play people in that fashion. It's like fraud, metaphysical fraud. Women are interesting. Women are also very different from each other. Like, my second wife, she wasn't very fragile. She was unipolar, and shit didn't really seem to stick to her very much, you know? She's FI ignoring and unipolar, FI ignoring, and so she didn't have a lot of fragility to her. And, you know, I've learned in other relationships that girls in general are, the thing to remember if you're a guy, first of all, is that in general, girls are at least as or more insecure than you are. And so when you remember that, hopefully it evokes in you a sense of responsibility and not an opportunity to take advantage. But there are exceptions. Like I said, ESFJ women are not very fragile or vulnerable, although that doesn't mean they aren't susceptible to being hurt like anybody. But no, I'm saying women in general are more insecure than men, than the men even. The men think to themselves, like, I'm very insecure. They forget that the women are in general probably at least as insecure as the men. So, you know, when you remember that as a male, it's, for me, that was sort of an important thing to learn, because I always assumed that the women sort of knew what they were doing, and I didn't know what I was doing. And well, you're in high school, Ali Malik, so what do you expect? Even the hot ones, absolutely the hot ones, are insecure too. For sure. The thing is, like, you take somebody like my daughter, who's pretty conventionally hot, and she's also FI polar and very susceptible to FI attacks, you know? And so, I mean, the thing is, everybody needs to respect other people's feelings. And if you're talking about a pickup artist who's trying to sell a false bill of goods, basically, then, you know, in my opinion, that's not okay. But that's my opinion. And there are women who want that sort of thing and don't want anything lasting and don't mind being picked up in that fashion and find that gratifying or satisfying or whatever. And that's okay too. I'm not trying to pass judgment on people's dating habits at all. I mean, I gotta say, it's very odd being an intuitive male, ENTP male, because obviously I have a sex drive, and obviously I like to have a fair amount of sexual intercourse, but also, you know, I like to, I always like it to be timed right. I don't ever like to have anything, I don't like to push anything through ever. You know, I want us both to be feeling it in that moment. So it's like I mean, if my woman were to sort of generally not be down after a certain amount of time, my sex drive, quote unquote, would take over, and I'd sort of be like, okay, we need to hump now. But in general, you know, when it's not like that, when it's not like I'm getting resisted at all the time and stuff, as it's not in my current relationship, then I'm very much in favor of never trying to push something through, you know? Try to find a hobby that you like. Yeah. Such as stamp collecting. Have you tried stamp collecting? I believe it's called philately. Philately. Debate's an excellent hobby, Ali Malik, for TI Dom. If you have a debate team at school, join it for sure. It's a wonderful adventure of majesty and a delightful learning voyage of truth, justice, and the American way. So definitely join your school's debate team if you have one. If you don't have one, go yell at your school's administration. I mean, I don't like how I've never liked yeah. It's always bothered me a lot. Um, I don't approve of a lot of stuff that a lot of men do or say. But I'd like to think that, you know, the majority of us aren't like that. Most men do end up in relationships, and presumably most men end up in at least somewhat stable and lasting relationships, ultimately, especially if they have kids. But You gotta. Chess is the most racist board game. Well, you just gotta be aware that pay attention to the chick you're dealing with carefully and decide, really look and see how much you are attracted to the person. You want to be attracted to them for sure. And really make sure that you're compatible with the person. Yes, it is. It's racist against albinos, Brittany. Well, I've been known on plenty of occasions myself as I'm driving around with another man in the car. If you see a chick with a rack on her or something, naturally you're gonna be like, "Oh my god!" Would you look at the heaving, heaving virtues bestowed upon that woman's chest, or something equivalent? So I don't know if that makes me another one of those people, but I do that too. I don't know. It's like you can't help but do that kind of shit when you're a dude with dudes. It's just, I mean, maybe if you're, I guess gay men don't do that. Maybe they do that about males, you know. Yeah, I know. How can you not do that, though? I say that to myself when I'm just driving in the car too. I'm like, oh my Jesus, sweet Lord Almighty. Ah, hello, 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 lefty, hello, righty. How you doing? Okay. So there's some girls that go out, like Horse Mumbler and I, when we were walking back to the car after we went to this national forest place in Arizona. There was this woman who was just like, I mean, just ridiculously busting out of her shirt. Arizona University chick. They both had like U of A shit on. Tucson's were University of Arizona. Just like ridiculous. So much cleavage. You're just like this billowing cloud of boobs. And so naturally, once we got into the car, I made a couple comments to Horse Mumbler about that. Men get to be silver foxes. I mean, there's plenty of women my age who would get a younger man. I got a younger woman, and I'm enjoying that. I'll be enjoying it again tomorrow. It's nice. It's great. I really like being fully attracted to the person that I'm with, and I feel as though I was probably ill advised to not take that into more consideration in previous relationships. Eric Lopez, you are at Talking with Fancy People, home of all that is good and true and just and fine and special. If you were seeking goodness and truth, you found it. You're right here. You're soaking in it right now. It's the greatest reality show on planet Earth. Indeed, Hambone is correct. You can always rely on his veracity. So it's another thing if you're looking for. If you're looking for veracity, goodness, truth, and justice, you're in the right place. Also, beauty, grace, dignity. You're 31 and feel old. You're young as a chicken. My girlfriend's 35 now. I think she's young because I'm 48. If you're looking for volitional love, I should warn you, Eric Lopez, I've foregone fondling in favor of caressing. I just want to make sure you're aware of that news. I'm religious of a sort. I'm sort of religious. I'm an ENTP. Ali Malik, I think you were an INTP. maybe pour your emotions, feelings in there. So, Eric Lopez, since you just arrived here, if you have any topics, questions, thoughts, complaints, queries, or other sort of things, then I will address your thing first. Okay. Rachel looks 25. Yeah, she looks pretty good. Apparently, she's put on some weight. She told me that the other day. She's gained weight back in New York. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I got to say that when she first came to LA, man, she didn't really have any fat on her at all. And she was just like, bam. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I get to get on this shit? Right on. I could talk about anything in the world, Eric Lopez. You name your topic, any topic in the world, I'll find something to say about it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. It doesn't bother me at all. She carries her weight well anyway, and you know, for her being a little chubby is not anything that I would even notice really. But you know, she's the one who brought it up. Do I like Harry Potter? I have read all the Harry Potter books, and I enjoyed them. I've seen the movies as well. What's my opinion on religion? Well, my take on it is that, I mean, I grew up in an atheist household. Both my parents are atheists, and my dad's rather an ardent atheist, frankly. And so I grew up believing that, I guess you'd say. But when I quit drinking, I began engaging in faith-based behaviors and have incorporated a variety of religious narratives into my general overarching narratives. And I self-identify as Christian now. So my opinion on religion is that people need an answer to the teleological questions about why humans exist. That everything else that humans do goes through a teleological frame, which is to say we understand it as a purposed thing. Why are you going to the store? To get bread. There's a reason why you're going to the store. There's always a reason for everything. There's a frame of utility or purpose that we judge and that we establish meaning about everything through, except for one thing, which is our own existence. We don't have clarity about what our purpose is. What am I purposed for? I know what this hammer is purposed for. I know what this lighter is purposed for. I know what this cigarette is purposed for. I know why I'm going outside right now. Occasionally I forget, why did I come in here? And then I'm completely thrown for a loop, like what to do now, you know? But the point is, without a frame of purpose, we're at a loss. And when it comes to understanding our own selves, our own being, and the human experience in the world, we need that frame of purpose to provide us some definitional constraints and to give us direction. Now, people who reject religion typically argue against it in certain ways. And my position on religion is, first of all, my faith is a behavior, not an affirmation. That is to say, simply because I pray to God doesn't mean that I affirm statements about God. In other words, I don't need to affirm any statements as defensible in order to engage in that behavior. And that behavior is something I engage in for a variety of reasons, most of which are that it provides, it allows me access to magical thinking in a way that is necessary one way or the other. You're going to have to find some sort of directional purpose in life one way or the other. And it seems inadequate to have it be of your own creation. I've decided what my purpose is. For me, maybe because I'm NI fifth slot and I value and validate the truth a lot. I want a true answer as to my purpose. I don't want an amalgam of mush. I don't want no answer. I don't want evolution as an answer. It's like I'd be fine with evolution if there was anything to it. There's not. It doesn't withstand any scrutiny as a theory in the sense that it doesn't sustain its own burden to affirm. It's like the idea of evolution explaining speciation, it just doesn't explain it. So, but regardless, let's not even fight the evolution battle. The point is, God can exist with or without evolution, and it's also true that you can't prove God. It's a silly notion. It would presume that the frame subsumes God, and then that's not God if it's subsumable in that fashion. So that's what I think about religion, more or less. I need it. That's what I think about it. I need it. I need faith, at least. I've never gone to church really or anything. I don't read the Bible or anything like that, but I definitely incorporate faith into my life on a regular basis. And I think that implicit in faith is humility, or an ability to pass off your own frailties as a human being, your own uncertainties and fears as a human being, onto something else that's external, greater than, and provides teleology for human existence. Whether that's enough of a reason for you personally or anybody else personally to engage in religion or faith is not for me to say. It's like, it's enough of a reason for me. It's not something I advocate in favor of or try to convert people or anything like that. It's not my concern at all. I don't care what other people think. Well, that's not a good reason to believe anything, Ali Malik. Remember, faith necessarily is belief in the absence of evidence, or in the face of contrary evidence. So if you're finding evidence for your religious faith, you're barking up the wrong tree. That's not religious faith then. You should never use religious faith as an objective reason for anything. You should never justify public policy with religious faith. It should always be some secular equivalent of that. Those are necessary aspects of sort of civilized societies, that you have to separate out religion from government and from objectivity. It's not an objectively determinable thing. And if you think you can objectively prove your religion, then you're not understanding what a religion is. Well, that's what I mostly pray for, Countess, is great gratitude and forgiveness. I pray for forgiveness because I make mistakes and I know I'm a sinner. And I pray gratitude because I know I'm very lucky and I should be grateful to God for not making me endure the consequences of my own frailty as much as I otherwise would. So, it's like I see religious faith as being the matter of the individual, and that it should never be, to the extent that it involves the group controlling the individual, then it's manifesting in a bad way. So it's like, whatever my faith is doesn't justify me telling you how to talk, what to talk about, how to dress, anything like that. I pray because phone calls to heaven are pricey and heaven's Wi-Fi is archaic. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, 123, because that brings me to the topic of my new church, God's Big Heaven Church, which promises that we have the biggest heaven of all the heavens and the most up to date. It's got 5G Wi-Fi right now, and it'll be updated every time. Unlike the older heavens, were built a long time ago, they had to retrofit those things for electricity. Their Wi-Fi is crap. Wi-Fi in God's Big Heavens is fantastic. Razor fast, lightning fast. America is a kind of heaven for devils. Really? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure America is not a heaven for devils. I think there's no need to justify your faith. If you believe there is a creator who takes care of all your affairs, you pray to thank him, that's all. I mean, I would say that my creator doesn't take care of all my affairs. My creator gives me opportunities make doable things that I can do to succeed. And it gives me opportunities to be weak and indulgent and fail in some fashion. And I incur consequences accordingly. I'm very lucky in that I seem to incur proportionally smaller consequences than I often deserve, maybe. I don't know. I just think I'm destined to do certain things while I'm here on Earth. I'm intended to fulfill what I ought to be and who I ought to be and who I'm intended to be by some, grand observer. At least resolves those questions. And if they go unresolved, then you don't even know if there's a point, if there's a purpose, if there is a direction, let alone which direction it is. At least that answers the question for me. Is there a direction? Yes. Do I know which direction it is necessarily? No. But that there is one, and it's determined by God. So I like that. It makes it unnecessary for me to wrestle with that thing. Do you like Texas? Or would you like a Texas? It gives very intuitive answers through a feedback loop of humility and gratitude given. I mean, I agree with you. It's like the answer to any of my prayers of question or give me guidance seems always to be, you already know. It seems to be the answer every time. So, it's a way of liberating some NI if nothing else, right? I'm going to smoke another cigarette now. While I'm gone, smoke a cigarette. I'll still keep talking to you, but I'm not going to take the camera over there. Instead, I'm going to give you a most scenic view. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The kitty is indeed adorable. Now, that's an adorable kitty. If you were looking for adorability, you've discovered it. You discovered it right here. It's the cat stream. It's cat streaming time. Meow, 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 meow. Why don't you ask her to help you start conversations with people? I wonder if you could help me. You seem like you're really so good socially. I wonder if you could help me. I have trouble starting conversations with people. That's a great way to start a conversation with them. Okay, so I'm PP. I'm going to be fielding your questions and answering them right now. Anybody have any questions for me on the cat? You don't mind me? I'm just taking it with my eyes closed. I am listening though. I'm reading. Yeah. Yeah, stream it. That's what you should do, Ali Malik. If you really want to be successful with ladies, become a YouTuber. It does wonders for both your confidence and your desirability. Believe me, it does. Oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3, your puns are amazing. Your puns are just absolutely astonishingly good. Gatillo meow meow. Yes, that is in fact a kitty meow meow, or what's sometimes referred to as a kitty meow meow pants, or kitty pageant winner. Are you just making up those names, Hempbone? I think you're just making up those names. Those are not actual city names, are they? Butt Plug, Washington is not a city. You know, I live in Butt Plug, Washington. Really? Your city's called Butt Plug? Yep. We're known for manufacturing 80% of America's butt plugs. Wow. Yeah, we're the butt plug capital of the world. We're proud of our work we do here, plugging up people's butts every day, all around the world. Oh my God, Brittany, you only live 35 miles away from Butt Plug, Washington? That's so great. You can get a lifetime supply of butt plugs. I hear they're on sale this time of year. They're on a season. Butt plug sales really skyrocket around Easter. You know, it's an Easter tradition among some cultures. I still type people? Yeah, I still type people. On a typewriter. Type the word people. Okay. Well, you have to do it repeatedly, Ali Malik. You gotta do a big unity, man. Right you are, Ali Malik. Right you are. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up here, friends. It's 2 hours. That's about time the clock strikes go to bed. Thank you all for meowing the meow. I appreciate it. And don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.